Welcome to Compai's Expat channel. I am Compai. I am Susua's voice of reason. In this video, I'm going to talk about the cost of living. There's a lot of places to rent in Susua. If you're looking for peaceful, affordable, and tranquil, look at Contact Compai, Susua's hidden gem. When you're ready to reserve at Contact Compai, my contact information is in the description down below. I had a client, Alexander, said to me just yesterday, John, you need to do a video about the cost of living in Susua in the year 2025. And I've really been putting off doing this video because my lifestyle is different from this person's lifestyle that's different from that person's lifestyle. So how do I give this information out that applies to everybody? Well, I'm going to do it in two ways. I'm going to talk about the people that are going to come down and they're going to stay in El Bate. That's the part where everybody thinks is Susua, not the outlying areas. Because I say this all the time, there's just way too many underfunded retirees and too many cheap expats. Susua is getting very expensive. The whole world's getting expensive, so naturally Susua is going to get more expensive as well. So let's talk about the first thing that everybody asks me. Lodging. Where am I going to stay? Well, sticking with the mentality of you're going to be living in El Bate, Susua, that's the part where everybody thinks of the tourist area because that's where the tourist area is. And that's our lane. That's our lane where we're supposed to stay in, guys. Let me just make that clear. So what can you get? How much is rent going to cost? Well, as this video gets older, the prices are going to come down. People are not making as much money as they used to. The numbers are not there in tourism. A lot of Dominicans built a lot of condo complexes behind the old Superpola, which is now La Serena, and CMC, the medical center. Back in that part of Susua, lots of condo complexes. But they marketed those condo complexes for the guys who come down and rent for the months. And digital nomads. Well, digital nomads are getting pulled back to the United States. A lot of companies are saying, well, no more working out of the office, get back in the office, or you don't have a job. So that affected that market. So what can you expect to pay for a year-round rental? For a year-round rental, you're looking at anywhere for, I'm talking a nice place. I'm not talking where you got to bring your own furniture in. A place that should have a swimming pool, should be renovated, should be modern, should be new. Something respectable is between $750 and $1,100. That gives you a good baseline. Now, the $750 is going to be smaller. It's not going to be as well equipped. It might have small TVs. It might just have an air conditioning in the bedroom. Where I use Contact Compai as an example, you got my one bedrooms have two 55-inch TVs. They're fully air conditioning. You got backup power. You got a pool. You got a cigar lounge, and I'm adding to it all the time. Strong Wi-Fi. So when you get into your lower ends, you got to understand and you got to accept the fact you're going to be giving up certain amenities that you would take for granted back in America. You may not have backup power. It may not have strong internet, may not have a good TV package, but you're only paying $750 to $900 American dollars a month. And then you got your high end, which is from $900 to $1,100. You can rent one of my one bedrooms. Depending on if 1 month, I'm going to charge you $1,100. If it goes longer than that, then we're going to negotiate. I'll come down, but the lowest I will go for my one bedroom is $1,000 a month. If you rent multiple months. Now I'm not talking high season, guys. I'm not talking high season. As far as if you're going to do 3-4 months. If you're doing a year-round rental, what I do, I have one guy that rents from me year-round. What I did is I took the average of what I want to make off of that apartment for that year, and that is his monthly rate. Because what I'm giving up is the opportunity to rent it in the high season, but it's rented in the low season. So we came up with middle of the road for that. So that's something to bear in mind. So that's housing, okay? Now let's talk about the underfunded retiree and the cheap whoremonger. A lot of these guys who are being influenced by other YouTubers to go live in Chatamicos, go live in Sosúa Bajo. Let me explain something to you. You're going to get a real deal out there. You're going to be able to live and rent something cheap, but you better be willing to give up one thing right away: your security. Because as less tourists come down here and less money is being injected into the local economy, the more hungry the locals are going to be. So if you're living in a Dominican barrio and they can't afford to pay their rent, guess what they're going to do? They're going to rob you. It's happening a little bit now as financial downturn. As this financial downturn continues, it's going to get more and more dangerous to live. And that goes into something else I always say. If you're taking advice from these real estate agents who come down here post-COVID, they don't understand the normal market here. And what do I mean by that? Since COVID, we had an injection of fake stimulus money. It was money that was just printed out and given to people. That inflated all assets worldwide. So the investors who are coming down here and the real estate agents are coming down here, they don't know what the real cycle is. They don't know what really happens in the low season. They learned a false baseline. So as things get worse financially, because I believe we're in for a hard 2 years coming up. We're going to cull the herd. So you're going to see a lot of these people who are living in Chatamicos, La Union, Maranata, Sosúa Bajo, they're going to get pushed back into El Bate. And the reason they're going to be able to do it is because prices are going to continue to fall for the lower end condos everywhere. Okay, so now let's talk food. Number 2, let's talk food. It all depends on how you like to eat. I know that sounds so trivial, but if you go shopping at the big supermarkets in town, you're going to be paying almost American prices. You can get anything, pretty much anything you want, but it's going to cost you a premium. So if you have the money and that's your lifestyle and you want to do it, great, you have it. And that's what I love about Sosúa. It hits all income brackets down here. You can live extremely, extremely wealthy, or you can survive on, I don't want to say 1,200, but you can if you're willing to live in places that I just described. I don't suggest that. My attitude is, guys, if you can't maintain the same American lifestyle you are at home, your housing, how you eat, stay home. Don't push it. Don't come down here and try to do an early retirement. Seen too many people fail and go back home having to go back to work because they spent all their money down here. And we'll get into that later in the video. If you can't afford the higher end places, there are supermarkets down here you can go to get more Dominican prices. Believe it or not, there's a nice one in Chatamicos where a lot of people are going now. And in El Bate, there's also 2 more options to buy groceries cheaper. Let's talk restaurants. Let's talk entertainment. You can get a meal for 300 pesos, plate of the day, plata del dia. You can do that all day long. For me, when I go out for lunch, I'm spending around anywhere between 350 and 450 pesos. Okay, just give you an idea what that is. I stay away from the high carbs. I stay away from the rice and all that stuff. So I usually get salad, vegetables, and usually chicken or pork. And that's what that runs me in a bottled water. And that's fair. I mean, I think that's a good bang for the buck. So I'm not that guy who's going out to the restaurants, eating steak, lobster. That's just not me. I didn't do it back home, and I don't do it here. If I want a steak, I'll cook it at home. I'll go to the supermarket and get the steak I want, and I'd rather be home anyway. So as far as your food, lots of options on food, lots of places to buy food, lots of different kinds of restaurants to fit your budget. Okay, so what do I spend? What do I spend on food a month? Now, I'm shopping at Plagiato, right in the middle of town, the big one, right on the highway. I spend, for me personally, and to buy dog food for my 3 little dogs. I got to throw them in there, man. They're dependents. They cost me money. I spend about $200 and maybe $25 a month, maybe $250. I think between $225 and $250 a month, and that that includes toiletries, soap to wash clothes, all that stuff, everything that I have that I need. I'd say for me to go out, I go out in town. I didn't move here to live on a budget. Now that doesn't mean I'm not frugal. I'm very, very frugal. I don't wear flashy stuff. I'm wearing pretty much a company shirt all the time. But if I want to eat something, I'm going to eat it. If I want to go out drinking, I'm going to go out drinking. I worked too hard in my life before to come down here and not enjoy my retirement the way that I want it. So, and I think a lot of people really need to understand that if you're that worried about a budget, you got to make sure your lifestyle fits that budget, because I've seen so many guys come down here, get caught up going out every night, the drinking, the girls, just the whole vacation mentality when you're living down here doesn't work. And I've seen a lot of guys just lose everything. And you can tell when it's happening. I'll give you guys a little. They'll start off renting someplace nice like mine, right? And then after 4 months, they find something cheaper. That's the norm. That's how it goes. And that's just part of the business. Then a year after that, they're getting someplace cheaper in Albate. Then time after that, they're living in a hood somewhere. And then after that, they're usually off the island. So, or they just pack up and go somewhere like Rio San Juan before they go back home and go to work. The guys that have the most comfortable lifestyle down here are the ones who are living off of some kind of government paycheck, whether it's pension, VA, disability. They're the ones that have the most. They're able to have that best budget going. So you can spend as much money as you want on restaurants. I would say I spend probably going out at restaurants. Let's throw in. No, I'm not going to throw in partying. I'm going to say when I spend probably a good $100 a month just eating this, eating that, going out. Drinking. For me, when I go out, it's nothing to spend $80 to $100 drinking, because I usually start, unfortunately, in the afternoon on the beach, and then I run into this person, have a couple more, then I run into this person, then I have a couple more, then the next thing you know, it's 11 o'clock at night, and I'm like, I got to go home. So I've been down that road. So that probably happens twice a month. So you're figuring there's another $200 just for my, let's call that entertainment. So that's how I live. But I know guys who are out every night partying hard. If you live here long enough, that's going to fall out of favor. Some people, it takes longer than others. So if your budget, let me throw out some numbers. If you have $2,500 American a month, and you have a respectable apartment that you're paying anywhere between $800 and $1,000, you're going to have a very comfortable life down here. If you don't go overboard and just drinking every day, getting hammered every day, and well, you know what? Hold that thought. If you know where to drink every day, you can still drink cheap down here. I mean, if you know where to go, there's a lot of places that you can get that 200 peso grande, 200 pesos, 225. There are places out there for that versus the 300 pesos. So it all depends on where you're going. So if you're willing to go off the beaten path, go into a barrio somewhere for the afternoon, have a couple drinks, or even on the beach. You know, what I pay for on the beach, what everybody else pay for, a little different because I live here. And I know the owners, so the owners cut me a break because they want me to come there all the time. And they want me to bring people with me. So, yeah, you can find places to lower that cost. So, $2,500 American a month, if you are disciplined, you cook at home, you don't need to go out and eat big meals every night in restaurants, you can live a very, very comfortable lifestyle. Even better if you have health insurance from the States. If you're coming down here on $1,800 and less, you're pushing it. You can do it, but you really need to be disciplined. You might find something that may not be the most appealing place to live in El Bate. You might be in a barrio somewhere. So there's going to be trade-offs. And if you're willing to make them trade-offs, it can be done. I suggest, and I don't want to offend people, but if you're not properly funded, stay home. Push it off, because the worst thing you can do is come down here unprepared. You want to have enough money to support yourself. And guys, don't think you're going to be the next high-end real estate agent. There's too many of them. But right now, there's just way, way, way too many of them, and they're hurting. I can tell you this, within the last week, I've had 3 people reach out to me who I don't know. John, I want to market your property. I want to throw it up on my site. I want to promote it. I want to do this. Not because they want to help me. Not because they think I need it. It's because they need it. They're hungry. They're not making their money, so they're looking at any avenue for income streams. And it's the cycle. Seen it before. It's gonna get worse. So you're not gonna come down here and start a beach bar to be able to provide a living for yourself. Not gonna happen. Property management, it's a grind. You need to have a lot of properties and a good staff behind you and the connections to get things fixed. You just coming down here, you're gonna be behind the 8 ball. These guys who are doing the quad tours. Quads are a dime a dozen now. That's been washed out. You know, there's just too many of them. Car rentals, forget it. Bartenders bought cars on loan to be able to rent to their clients. So it's harder to do business down here than it was when I came down here. You know, when I came down here, it was just a different market. Now there's too many people because the credit down here increased. So that's why you're seeing all the building, and they're still building. And you get too many Airbnbs, you have too many VRBOs, there's too many rentals as it is, and everybody thinks they're going to do well. It's not. So if you're going to come down here, you got to have that steady income every month. So if you're coming down here to try to live on $1,200 American, please don't. Stay home. Go back to work, get a second job, cut back your debt. Get rid of everything, just scale down, live well beneath your means. So when you finally do make that move, you come back, you can enjoy your life. You don't want to be the next guy down here peddling a product that's illegal or running girls. There's too many gringos doing nefarious things down here as it is. You don't want to be one of them. So I believe if you have $2,500 American or more, and you're disciplined, you know what you want, and you're realistic about your budget and what your budget can afford, you can live a very comfortable life. And the big thing that a lot of people don't understand the change of mentality. My villa is only 1,000 square foot. I had a 2,800 square foot house back in the States. But I have a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, an inside living room, an outside living room, kitchen, and dining room. I'm thinking about downsizing to a 1-bedroom house with a casita out back to host and build a custom YouTube studio and reduce the size of my pool. We live outside. You know, we don't have winter down here. So, you know, back home, I would have to have different parts of my house to do different things to keep me entertained. You know, a media room. I had a library. There's things I had in my house that I don't need now. My library is my hammock and my Kindle. There's my library. You know, I sit outside in my outside living room and watch TV. So your lifestyle changes, and you know, when you as a foreigner, you want to learn to downsize your not expectations, but what you're familiar with, how you live back home. My car, it's a hoopty. It's a 2003 RAV4. It has low mileage, runs great, but it's still 2003. You don't need the best of the best down here. So if you can get out of that American rat race, get out of that, hey, look at me, just understand what's really important when you live down here is your quality of life, your peace, getting out of the rat race, not having the stress every day of paying bills. Because let's talk utilities, guys. Now, I'm not a big AC guy. I don't run my AC a lot in my villa. I will when it gets really hot. I'll run it at night. I might run it in the living room as well. But I'm fortunate where I live, I have great breezes that just whip through my villa. So I got my pool. So that means I got a pool pump. I got a water pump. I am very frugal. You can probably watch me walk from room to room because when I walk in the room, the light goes on. When I walk out, I turn the light off. So my house isn't lit up like a lighthouse at night trying to guide, traffic or anything. So I'm real frugal about that. So for me, my electric bill for my villa, believe it or not, runs me from 1,200 pesos a month up to like 26, 27 when I'm really running the AC. I use very, very little electric in my house. I just don't, if I'm watching TV, there's usually just the TV's on and ceiling fans, and that's it. And if you get the KDK ceiling fans, they're very, very efficient and they run forever. One of the best buy on a ceiling fan. What else? As far as my actual villa, I own my villa. For my HOA fees, my electric for my villa, to fill up my propane, for my internet at my villa, I have the same TV package I have in Contact Compai. I have at my house. It's internet-based, so I have decent internet. Extra bulk yard pickup because I have huge palm trees, and when they drop their branches, they're anywhere 8 to 12 feet long. They're huge. So I got paid. So I have an extra fee in Hispaniola that takes care of all that. My gardener, including his pay, monthly pay. I clean my own pool. I enjoy doing that. So for me to maintain my house, everything included, soup to nuts, 500 American a month. So, that's one of the things. My cost of my housing's lower, but I also had to buy a villa. So that's something else to give you guys a baseline on what it costs to live here. If you're living here full time and you can do a little bit of work yourself and hire your own people instead of using the services in the gated community or the maid service in a condo complex. So guys, that's it. So again, if you're underfunded and you think twice about living in these barrios outside of El Bate, I'm not saying don't do it. I'm saying know what you're getting yourself into. If you want to be rural downtown El Bate, you're looking at 1,100 to 1,000, maybe 950. If you need far enough out to where you need a scooter, you're looking between 750 and 900. And there are going to be more of them popping up because as things get slower, prices are going to drop. And then if you really want to get a good deal, you don't come down here shopping in December. You come down here in June, July, and August. That's when you line up your yearly rentals to get the best bang for your buck. So guys, with that said, If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Most of my viewers who watch me are not subscribers. So, guys, please do that. Subscribe, give me a like, give me a share, and always remember, please keep personal private and private personal. Peace out.